First off, like Christopher said, I come to the green world or the environmental world from a little bit different perspective than most people. I'm a venture capitalist. I operate public companies. I fund public companies when they need capital. And as such, the first slide here is a little bit about taking responsibility for some of the problems here that we faced in the last year. As a person intimately involved in financial markets, in the world of venture capital, I realize that I'm part of the problem. Now, I didn't completely cause what happened during the past year. There were a few guys in New York that had a little bit to do with it alongside of me and my cohorts here in Vancouver and in Toronto. But what I think is important to acknowledge is that as financiers, as people involved in the markets, we're very fast to act, we're adaptive, we adopt things quickly, but we were a big part of the problem. Also, as an international business person who travels internationally, who consumes energy, I also realize that I'm part of the problem environmentally. I hope over the next 8 or 9 minutes that I can also show you how I think we can be part of the problem, or sorry, part of the solution to this problem in our space, in the finance world. I think that one of the things that we need to do, in addition to taking responsibility, is to acknowledge how can we move forward. And one thing, as a person that comes to the space with a venture capital mind versus environmental background, I think that it's important that we frame the discussion differently going forward than we have in the past, because a discussion to me that centers around and surrounds a problem or a series of problems doesn't do a lot to get people like me motivated. What gets me motivated is when there's opportunity. And up until the last couple of years, I really didn't realize the depth of opportunity there is in the environment space. Everything that I saw through the media, everything that I saw out there as a venture capitalist when I was looking at different investment situations was, there are two hands. One, save the earth, do the right thing. It's wonderful. Leave the kids a better place. Leave your grandkids a better place. And that's nice, but it doesn't spur a whole lot of action for somebody that thinks the way I do. Then I started to get introduced to the different opportunities that this situation had created. The opportunity to look at Earth as what is the return on invested capital here on Earth? How can we use Earth in a responsible and sustainable way to benefit all of the different things that we want to do corporately? And I look at planet Earth with all of its assets, with its liabilities, with its difficulties, and I came to the conclusion that planet Earth has one hell of a prospectus. The problem here, the innovation, the solution, I think that we framed things incorrectly. We're too busy arguing about the semantics of climate change, and the process of change is too slow based on how we frame this discussion. What if we started to look at the ROI of everything here on planet Earth? And if we take a look ahead, we have to look back. And if you take a look at the 1990s, I think we all remember the 1990s, and I don't think there was a whole lot of progress corporately, and I think that the reason, from an environmental perspective, is it was our fault as a group of people that care about the Earth in terms of how we frame the discussion. And I don't know how many of you remember in 1997 when the US Senate unanimously decided that they would oppose any accord or any agreement that would harm the US economy. And that mindset came because of the way it was framed. And we went to the politicians as people, I guess, that care about the environment in a general way. And I think that the discussion was framed as a really either-or situation. Either we save the planet Earth, we do the right things, we give our kids a better place to live, or we continue to support business. Well, I think we've learned since that unanimous vote in the Senate and since other similar events like that, certainly around North America and around the world, is that it's not an either-or. That being good stewards of the environment, being socially environmentally responsible and sustainable in terms of the way we operate can be good not only for the environment, but can be good for the business world. I had an example that was brought to me not too long ago about a coral reef. And looking at it from a financial point of view, we all know from going diving or swimming or snorkeling that this coral reef systems are beautiful. What I didn't realize is how much that reef is worth. If you just break it down into dollars and cents, and you look at the tourism value, you look at the fisheries value, you look at how it creates natural defenses for shorelines, et cetera, and you can quantify this into a $1.2 million a year number for every hectare of coral reef. Now, unless we're on a vacation in the Caribbean or somewhere else in the world, unless we're in Australia, we don't see coral reefs every day. So I looked for more concrete examples, and this is what we came across. An exit sign. Almost every building that we have, that any of us work in, has these emergency exit signs. They're necessary. A $30 retrofit on any sign with a simple LED kit can result in a savings of about $20 a year. After 5 years, you've saved $70, counting for your retrofit costs, and 1.5 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. That's one sign. Now, what does this mean on a bigger level? Well, the building that I work in, retrofitting all of the signs would create $4,200 in savings, not to mention the environmental benefit. Now, that's something, if you're a business operator, if you own shopping malls, if you own office buildings, residential buildings, that's something that you can get pretty excited about. The same concept on a larger scale, lighting and heating account for a huge percentage of commercial energy consumption in the world. The EPA states that hotels and motels can expect a $6.27 return on each dollar they invest in energy efficient upgrades. Now, if enough hotels and motels did this, we wouldn't be paying $8 for a bottle of water and $20 to use the internet for one evening at the hotel. But the context here in the business world, things have been framed in the opposite manner. I would say that most hotel owners in the world don't know that if they invest $1, they can likely get $6.27 back in terms of ROI. What they've been told is, you should increase your lighting efficiency. You should do things that are better inherently and intrinsically for the world. And you know what? That's the right argument. For the most part, people in the environmental world are good people. That's by their very nature. They want to make things better. They want to create a more sustainable path of growth, but they're not necessarily communicating to the business community in the way that the business community will understand. And what you end up with is a lot of eyes glazed over during that interaction, during that discussion in the business community when dealing with the environmental world. Whereas I think that if you went to a hotel or motel owner and talked about a 600%, 500%, 400% return on equity for doing very simple things, you'd have their attention. And I'll tell you what the answer would be is, can you be here tomorrow to change my lights? And I think that what people don't realize is that there's been big miscommunication between the business world, between the environmental world, but venture capital, we think, can bridge that. Because where there's opportunity for both sides, and it has to be phrased differently. I'll go into an example, a resource company, a mining exploration company that I know of that was using big, cumbersome drilling equipment to explore for copper, zinc, gold, silver. Well, the exploration world, there's very high risk, there's high return, but you're spending millions of dollars to go out and find anything economic. These big drilling rigs caused a huge environmental footprint just to go drill a test hole that would likely turn out to be nothing. You had to cut trees down, you had to build roads, you had to employ and bring in a whole lot of machinery, and there was a better way, but nobody was utilizing it. There was a different way to do things. There were more portable drill rigs. There were more portable means of bringing equipment in and out. A company came up with a drill that can dismantle down into 300-pound increments and can be moved in and out of anywhere, any type of topography, by people. It mitigated the need to build these roads, to cut these trees. It lessened the footprint. But you know what the exploration companies said was, well, big deal. We don't really care. But when you went back to these same companies a couple of years later as the technology advanced, and you framed the discussion differently, and the discussion became not do the right thing for the environment, but the discussion became, do you know how much it costs to build a road to get to that site? Do you know how much equipment, how much money you're tying up in equipment in capital costs? And here's a different way that can increase local employment, make you more popular in the community that you're dealing with, but most importantly, it can improve your bottom line. People flocked to this type of equipment once they saw the discussion framed in a different manner. And the bottom line here is we need to figure out today, as companies, as corporations, as venture capitalists, from these lessons, or we're going to be forced into it. We're going to be forced into it from our competition that is now more energy efficient. We're going to be forced into it from the shopping mall owner that owns a shopping mall across the street from us, but he can offer lower lease rates to all of his tenants because he has such a lower level, a lower cost base in terms of his operations. So the challenge now, I think, for the environmental community is to continue with the good work that is going on, but also start framing the conversation differently and start indicating that there's opportunity here. There's huge opportunity here, and there's not an either-or situation. And with that, I thank you for your time.